Now I invite Mr. Sai Baba, MD. He is going to talk on synergetic trade of slokas in English. A few words about him. He was a good manager, group manager in HMT, and Titan Industries. He was professor at Dayananda Sagar institutions. Post-retirement pursuing philosophy. He is in the study group since about 2.5 years. And during his study group discussions, I have seen him. He mixes that philosophy with our tradition, study group. So I invite him for his talk. Thank you.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Apavitro pavitro va sarvastam gatopi va esmaret pundarikaksham sa bahyabhyantara shuchi manasam vachikam papam karmana samuparjitam Sri Ramasmarnenaiva na vipoheti samshaya Sri Rama Rama titur Vishna tatavara nakshatra Vishnu revacha yogascha karnanchaiva sarvam Vishnumayam jagat. With this I start. Pujya Swami Brahmanandaji, Sheshadri Guruve Namaha, Gurumata Namaha, Anya Acharyanam Pranamam, Sarvebhyo Namaha. My topic is on the synergetic triad of the 3 slokas, that is Stita Prajna, Kshetrajna and Parignata. What is the similarities in that? That is what my talk is about. But there are some 4 sub-points are there. The first point is the power of the question and the power of transformation, which we saw in Arjuna. That is the first point. The second point is the synergy among the 3. That is Stita Prajna is sloka number 2.54 and Kshetrajna is 13.1. In some books it is 13.2 and 18.18 is Parignata. What is the synergy there? The third point is there have been interactions between Arjuna and Sri Krishna. There have been interactions between Duryodhana and Sri Krishna. What are their outcomes? The last one is that the caveat with all that. Having said all of them, etc., we need Karturagnya Praprete Phalam. That's what we need, the blessings. These are the 4 points around which my topic is revolving. The first one is the power of question. I would urge my friends, before I start, it's like this. I wish to say that there is a Socratic paradox is there. I know that I know nothing. That's the Socratic paradox is there. That's one. And my predecessors have talked, etc. It's like asking me to sing in front of what you call MS Subbalakshmi. That is my predicament. Notwithstanding that, I would venture to talk about it. That's one point. Now, the power of question and power of transformation. Look at the transformation. Till the slokas 2.53, there has been a transformative effect. Krishna had to teach the Sankhya philosophy, the yoga, and also the karma yoga, the yoga of action. Before that, Arjuna was in a state of despair, not to know what to do between moha and this one. But Krishna's teaching has transformed him from Vishada state to Samata, that is equanimity, to what you call a battle-fit warrior, Dharma Acharana, for that purpose, battle-fit warrior. That is the power of transformation our Lord Sri Krishna has done. This is one very important point at a time. The second important point is the question. I request you to join with me when I recite this sloka, etc. That is Stita Pragnasya Kabasha. I think many of you know better than me. Read that. Stita Pragnasya Kabasha Samadhistasya Keshava Stitadi Kim Prabhasheta Kimasit Vrajeta Kim. You all know that, etc. Now, Stita Pragnasya Kabasha is the second question in whole of these slokas. What is the power of it, that sloka, that has made interactions between Sri Krishna and this one, resulting in The remaining 15 questions, interactive questions, is the full Bhagavad Gita is revolving about that. And the jnana of that is that it lives in perpetuity for the future generations to come and including us. That is the power of those 17 questions, interactive questions between Arjuna and Krishna. That is the power of question. Now, we all know that, but I would like to digress a little, etc. Now, to understand the question, the insights better, I would refer to Swami Sri Tejomayanandaji's Bhashyam on the following sloka. Manasam tu kim margane krute naiva manasam marga arjavat. What a powerful statement of this one. Now, according to Tejomayanandaji, a rightly framed inquiry, margane krute, places one on a path of whose very directness, marga arjavat, ensures right direction and meaningful outcomes. That is what is the power of question. Obviously, further explanations in his Bhashyam are concurrent, sequential, and this makes what makes the transformation real. Complementing this, our Sheshadri Guruji, in his explanation on this sloka during our satsang, says that any righteous inquiry puts one in a right direction, in a virtuous path, and one gets much more than information. That is what our Sheshadri has taught. Finally, inquiry starts it, straightness refines it, steadfastness stabilizes it, and all the three unfold together until the Sthita Prajna is achieved and evolved. I wouldn't say achieved, it's evolved. That is what is the power of transformation up to 2.53 slokas, etc. But in the modern days, what its relevance? Some articles in Harvard Business Review also reflect such views. For instance, Alison Wood's article, The Surprising Power of Questions, it goes far beyond exchanging information, deserves our attention. And it's an open source article. I urge you to read, etc. This is the first point of transformation and the power of right question. I move on to the synergistic triad, that is Sthita Prajna, that is sloka number 2.53, Kshetrajna 13.1, and Parignata 18.18. We'll look into it, what's its synergy. Then I urge you to recite along with me. It's 13.1 sloka. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetramityvidiyate etadyo veti tam prahuhu kshetrajna iti tadvidaha. You all know that one. Now, from a synergy perspective, I am explaining this sloka. Idam kshetram. When you use the word idam, you are distinguishing yourselves from the this. When you say this. Okay? The power of idam is crucial. The moment one says this, he or she creates distance, objectivity, and detachment. That is where the detachment process starts. That is the beginning of wisdom. Anything you can say this about is not about you, it is about a kshetram, comprising of manas, that is mind including thoughts, emotions, fluctuations, capricious mind, buddhi, intellect involving in discrimination and decision making, ahankara, the ego, shariram, of course, the body which does the physical karma. Kshetrajna here is Sthita Prajna 2.53, Kshetrajna 13.1. He says, knower of the field, the eternal consciousness soul that witnesses the body's activities but is distinct from them. That is very important. That is Kshetra plus Gna. Now, Yoveti, the one who knows it, Tadvidaha also refers to the enlightened ones. Now, what is this one? Kshetrajna is the realization of who you are, and Sthita Prajna is the stabilization of that realization in life. They are not two separate entities. That is what I would like to draw your attention to. They are two phases of the same awakening process, etc. The synergy, I will take a car example, which we all experience. In one line, Kshetram is the traffic, and we all know the notorious traffic of Bangalore. Kshetragna is the driver who understands that he is not the traffic. And Sthitaprajna is the driver who remains unshaken while skillfully navigating the traffic. He never forgets the distinction even under pressure. A Sthitaprajna is not an inactive driver in the car parked in the bay. He drives fully, engages with traffic, and makes decisions to arrive at the destination for further enthusiastic engagement. We see when people drive the car, come home, I am damn tired, and look for Saridan tablets. That is not that Sthitaprajna is talking about. Understanding Parignata, the third one in the triad. Traits of Parignata incorporates the traits of Sthitaprajna and Kshetrajna. A Parignata doesn't add on traits. He is not a distinct person of traits of Sthitaprajna and Kshetrajna. They emerge inevitably when knowledge is fully assimilated. Okay? Embodied wisdom of Parignata is equal to Kshetrajna and Sthitaprajna, that stability. For a Parignata, it is structurally essential to embody these traits for being action-oriented. I request you to join me for this sloka. Gnanam gneyam parignata trivida karma chodana karnam karma karteti trivida karma sanghaha. Okay? This is what the 18.18 sloka is talking about. Now, in this verse, Krishna explains the anatomy of action, why and how part of our application, comprising of two triads to be executed by the knower. Triad 1, the impetus for action, karma chodana. The word chodana, root word, means impelling, that action motivator. Gnanam, the knowledge. Gneyam, the object of knowledge. And parignata, the knower. These three put together is called Gnana Triputi, and the knowledge, etc. The second triad is the action. Karanam karma karteti trivida karma sanghaha. Karanam, the instrument. In some books you find that Karanam, also some books refer, but they also mean the same. It's a synonym, etc. Karma, the act itself, and karteti is the doer. These are the physical components of action, also called as karma triputi. Thus, one can see that three are not independent abstracts, but an integral behavioral blueprint for action. It's an integral. Sthitaprajna, Kshetrajna, and Parignata are three in one. That's where the synergy I am talking about. There is harmonious convergence of the three to same being. Kshetrajna purifies knowing, sees correctly as to what is happening in the field, and being very much conscious that I am the observer and not the field. Sthitaprajna purifies that being, stays steady, no emotional hijack, and no compulsive likes or dislike are filtering with our glasses. Parignata perfects doing when knowledge, clarity, and stability fuse together. Action becomes precise, proportionate, and dharmic. That is where Arjuna's arrow streaked on the what you call bullseye. That's what the army man says, isn't it? Okay. The analogy, the musician's symphony. We look at what is musician's symphony. Okay. Now, Kshetrajna, the knower of the field, the conductor of the music, like Zubin Mehta, you might have heard in our days, etc. Like a conductor, a Kshetrajna does not produce sound directly, but observes, understands, and directs. He is aware of every section, strings, winds, and percussion. Sthitaprajna, steady wisdom, the tuned orchestra. This is like an orchestra in perfect tuning and discipline, where a battery of musicians know what to play at an appropriate time. looking at the signal of what the conductor does. You see them doing like this, right? Okay. Parignata, the integrated knower, the symphony itself. We might have heard Beethoven's 7th Symphony. It's very interesting to see. Okay, or Tracy Chapman's, etc. The symphony itself. This is not just the conductor or musician separately, but the emergent symphony, a unified, meaningful whole that music transcends. It should transcend every individual player. It becomes a coherent experience of realization. Having said about the synergy and the first point about power of question and transformation, I move on to the third point. The interactions between Arjuna and Krishna. The interactions between Duryodhana and Krishna. What are the outcomes? What are the differences? I would like to dwell a little. Arjuna humbly asked a righteous question. We all know, Sthita Pragnasya Ka Bhasha. That is the righteous question. Whereas Duryodhana says to Bhagwan, etc., Janami dharmam nachamena pravrutti, Janami dharmam nachamena nivrutti, kenapi devena hrudistitena, yataniyokto asmi, tatakaromi. That's what it says. That is from the Garga Samhita. I know what dharma is, but I have no inclination to follow it. I know what adharma is, but I have no inclination to abstain from it. That is what Duryodhana talks about. Both statements contain self-awareness. Both know what to do. Arjuna uses awareness to rise about kshetram, and the right questioning leads to him to success. Duryodhana remains bound within kshetram, but right knowledge without proper application leads to downfall. The same analogy of car driver. Arjuna says, how should a good driver be? Learns, adjusts, drives skillfully and reaches the destination. Duryodhana says, I know the rules, but I am impulsive. Crashes, gets into acrimonious debates, etc. that we see in our traffic jams, etc. Finally, this is the third point. I covered the interactions. First one was Sthita Prajna, second was this one. The fourth one, finally, one needs the blessings of the Supreme Lord for success in our endeavors. There is a caveat. Despite imbibing all of the above concepts, ultimately the final result is one's actions are guided by what Ramana Maharshi says is Karturagneya prapyate phalam karma imparam karma tajjadam. That's what he says. What does it mean to us in terms of Mahabharata, etc.? But the meaning is, results come only by the will of the Supreme Ishvara. Actions by itself are inert, jada. It has no independent power. In the context of Mahabharata, the flag on the chariot bears Hanuman, Kapidvaja, while the charioteer is Krishna. This symbolizes Krishna plus Hanuman ensures complete protection to Arjuna, and all the arrows hit the target well. Okay? Now, after the war, Krishna tells Arjuna, you dismount, get down fast. Arjuna obeys and steps down. He doesn't have arrogance that all my arrows have hit the target. He obeys. Then Krishna gets down. Immediately we all know that the chariot bursts into flames and is destroyed. We all know that. Krishna's presence held back the destructive effect of the divine astras from the Kauravas. The revision is, the first one is power of question, power of transformation. Second one is the synergy of the triads, Sthita Prajna, Kshetrajna and Parignata. The third one is the interactions, positive interactions between Duryodhana and Krishna and Arjuna and Krishna. This one. The fourth one, we need the blessings of the God. That is what is there. Now my thanks to Yoga Narasimhanji who coordinated, Raviji who has coordinated, and the bhajan singer who sang well, and to people who meticulously conducted the puja. Thanks to Swamiji and the mission for giving me an opportunity to speak. Thanks to Sheshadri Guruji and Suresh for moral support And finally, last but not the least, to the audience for paying attention to my talk. Hari Om Tat Sat. Brahmarpanamastu.
I thank Dr. Nagaraj, Mr. Gupta KGB, and Sahib IMD for their talks. Tomorrow, that is the third day, it will be from Mr. Suresh Kumar, Professor Neela Megam, and Jayashree Mohan.
ಹರಿ ಓಂ. ಸ್ಥಿತಪ್ರಜ್ಞ ಅನ್ನುವ ಶಬ್ದವೇ ಬೇರೆ, ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರಜ್ಞ ಅನ್ನುವ ಶಬ್ದವೇ ಬೇರೆ, ಪರಿಜ್ಞಾತ ಅನ್ನುವ ಶಬ್ದವೇ ಬೇರೆ. ಮಾತಾಡುವ ಮೊದಲು ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ತಿಳ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಪ್ರಜ್ಞಾ ಅಂದ್ರೇನು? ಬುದ್ಧಿ. ಯಾರ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಜೀವನದ ಏರು ತಗ್ಗುಗಳಲ್ಲೂ